Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. It is Friday, guys. Congratulations. You're making it through another week for those of you who are listening in real time. And if you happen to be listening to this on a different Friday, then you made it through another week. Anyway, we have a little update on yesterday's episode. I want to talk to you about Cross That Line a little more. So I went back and I listened to the original version from Different World, and it is a very different song. There was no violin or flute. I didn't think so. I really couldn't recall a song that had them in it. But all the solos were Mick, which, was much more on par with what you would expect. I'm not sure why they made the changes for this new season, but they did. And it was fine. I mean, as a standalone song, it's fine. The biggest difference, besides the instruments being different and being more, standard band, is that the song seemed a lot more defined to me. Like even from the beginning, I could sense an actual like melody and song structure, which I did not get from the remake on Totally Driven. So it could be that the way the mix was or the particular instrumentation just didn't feature that enough to have it really shine through and define it. But I kind of like that it didn't. I like I said yesterday, I really like that it was more of a music bed, a delivery system for the story. And, the rest of it was interesting and very unexpected, the violin and the flute and all that. Don't have any more information on the flute or the violinist. But in any case, that was the song. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on that. I actually followed through, listened to the song like I said I would, and there you have it. But it's a nice song. Both versions are very nice. I like them. The bonus version, as I recall, was an extended version. So, they a lot of times they'll play the whole song and, it'll get edited down. If it's a single, it'll get edited down for radio play. But sometimes just for the album release, the producer or the band or whoever might go, you know what, this is a little bit too much or it's too repetitive. Why don't you cut it down, cut it down from 7 minutes to 5.5 minutes to put on the album, something like that. And they'll do their chopping. Of course, back in these days, we're talking about magnetic tape, a razor blade, a lot of crossed fingers, and hopefully no sliced fingers, because that was a precarious job in many, many ways. You could completely screw up the track. You could cut yourself, nasty cut yourself, all kinds of possibilities. So that would leave an actual, what would be considered the extended version, because it's extended from the album version, would be the actual version they recorded. I don't remember what it was in this case. The other thing was that it could have been one where they edited another, like repeating the third verse and chorus, or, doubling the ending or something like that. So there's all kinds of possibilities for extended version. But the extended version is usually, in most cases, the one that would have been recorded, unless it was that studio trickery, just, putting in a second chorus or a second verse or extending the ending or whatever. But because they only would have played it the way they played it. But that's that. So let's get to today's song. Today, we are talking about the song More Fool You. This one is going back to the Raging Silence album. So now we're going even further back. This was, there was only one version of this, and it was reviewed back on October 1st of 2021. It was getting close to that point where the show was hitting a year, and I don't remember a lot about this song. I remember thinking the title was interesting, because it could go a couple of different ways what it meant. But let's get into the song. Let's see what this version of the band did with it as we close out our work week. Here we go, guys. I really like the way Phil's playing along with Mick on this. Very interesting choice of notation, but it really works well. It's very supportive, but kind of stands on its own, to be honest. The guitar is a little bit louder, giving it the leading reference point. But it's really nice. I like that.
I held the rope so tightly as she climbed down from her room. We said we'd make our getaway underneath the moon. And I always will remember the night that we left home. And the words of warning ringing in my ear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. This is really powerful. Bernie's voice is so strong and passionate right off the get-go. Like, you just feel an intensity coming from him. I really like that. That was a nice intro fill, too, from Lee Kerslake. Really like that. And we'll see what happens next. There's a good chance I mentioned it on my initial review of this song that, this is the kind of stuff that really makes me wish I was any good at acoustic guitar, that I could even just, really be solid on a few chords and be able to strum and create a song like this. It's a great bed for storytelling, and it really just moves the song along so well. It's not intrusive on the ears. You don't have any frequencies that just really cut through. It's just very nice to listen to. And it's like half rhythm, half tone, which I like. And it fits in really well. Great performances from everyone, of course, no surprise there. But Bernie's definitely singing with some strength on this one. And I'm really digging it. So we have our female backup singers back again. Really kind of been up and down on this album. And one last time I'll say it, I'll apologize to the band if this is not hired female singers, but it very much sounds not like the kind of pitched vocals or pitched backing vocals that you would hear from Uriah Heep. These voices definitely sound female to me. Again, like sometimes it's the it sounds like the band is there. Sometimes it's this group of singers. Sometimes it's both. This album has really kind of been all over the place as far as, who's doing what, where these instruments are coming from. It's a really interesting project. And I honestly thought it was like, hey, we're getting ready to do these shows, acoustically driven and electrically, easy for me to say, electrically driven. Let's rehearse all the songs and we'll record it. I really thought it was going to be something a little more straightforward and simple. Wasn't expecting overdubs, wasn't expecting fade outs, certainly wasn't expecting, hired instrumentalists. And not that there's nothing wrong with any of it. It's just not what I was expecting with the limited amount of information I had about this album going into doing these reviews. I'm kind of glad, though, because to be honest, when I found out about them and I looked at what they were, I'm like, all right, I've reviewed Easy Living, like this will be the third time. And, some of these songs, if they were on the live album, they've been reviewed more than once. Sometimes this is just the second stab at them. But still, I'm like, I don't, what am I going to say that I haven't already said? Well, first, I don't remember what I said. So that helps. Second, it's all about what I feel in the moment anyway. That's how the whole show's been since day one. And third, these really are different versions. They're giving us something that they didn't give us before. It's not like they just recorded the song with different people on it. Like there's different personalities. You feel the personalities in the music. It's different mixes. Some of the mixes are much better than, the originals, because I have had issues with their production on some of these projects. But so it has been a lot more exciting to do these than I had thought it was going to be. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the songs on this album and then getting to Celebration, because unless that project takes a different direction, if it's more of something like this, more of here's how we're going to do this, then I don't know what to think. I guess I'll find out when I get there. But we did a couple songs off of that were unreleased tracks. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. But for now, let's get back to More Fool You. Now that is what I call doing a solo within a structure. There are certain places that you have to hit and other little bursts of space where you have some creative freedom. And I thought Mick covered that very well. There was some really nice tones in there. It felt kind of like, I want to say almost not quite the sound of a 60s guitar, but it had a little bit of that feel to it to me. Maybe a little bit Zappa, like Joe's Garage-ish. Definitely different, but I really liked it. One thing that I feel this album has been sorely missing is a massive amount of Mick Box solos. I'm not sure, why they chose the arrangements and things that they did. I can't imagine that he wasn't doing solos on a lot of these songs live. But in any case, yeah, there's only been a handful, really. And we've gone through quite a number of songs on this already. So it's pretty surprising. In any case, though, this one was really good. And I really liked it.
She's taken away most everything. I lost my only friend.
That was a really nice transition. I really dug that. And I love the power that Bernie comes into this section with. I mean, you just feel like every hair on his chest is pushing its way out like the Play-Doh Fun Factory because he's putting so much pressure into his voice. I love when a singer sounds that passionate. I can't remember what the backing arrangement was on the studio version. I don't really like this. Just like to go more full and then stop is fine, but then to just like wait a few seconds and then say full or I don't know. It's just kind of weird to just have that one word hanging out there. There might be occasions where that could work for me. It isn't really working on this song. Well, that was a nice ending, though. I like that. I like the tones. I liked that there was just a little bit of feedback in there. A little more would have been okay, just, thimbleful. But in any case, yeah, it's not a bad song at all. There's a lot of good pluses here. One thing, I'll theorize a little further since half of this season has been complete speculation anyway. It's very possible that Mick was unavailable. Maybe he had other things he had to do, other commitments. Maybe, it was one of those times like when he fell off the stage and broke his arm. Yeah, he finished the show, which is, that's just baller. But, maybe maybe he was injured, maybe something happened and he wasn't able to be there for a lot of the sessions and not do the solos. I don't know why you wouldn't wait to put the album out if that was the case, but there's so much that goes into that. You're paying for the studio, you've booked certain dates, you're going to pay for it either way. So maybe you don't have the budget to book more days because something extraneous happened. There's no insurance against that kind of stuff, guys. It's not like these days where we have things like concert ticket insurance in case something happens and the band can't make it. I mean, it's just ridiculous how things have changed, but I digress. I could go off into a whole tangent on that and Ticketmaster and how I feel about them. But anyway, talking about Uriah Heep here. But basically, there's a certain amount of time. There's tours booked, there's dates booked, flights are booked, or buses or whatever's happening. Like, there are just certain times that certain things have to happen. Otherwise, you lose out completely. So they may have had a limited amount of time. I don't know. It's like 27 songs, though. So that's a lot to be recording for an album like this. I can't imagine this was a high budget project. It wouldn't necessarily be, I don't know. I just can't see this being anything outside of like the fans, the collectors, the diehard people would get it. The completists would get it, but it wouldn't be like a commercially, it's not like a new studio album or something that would appeal on a more mass scale. So I can't imagine the budget was that big, but they did 27 songs. That's a lot. So I don't know. It's a real mystery, this album. Like I said, everything that I've said is just been speculation. I can only talk about with fact what I hear and what I don't hear. And I just find it interesting that there haven't been a lot of solos. I also haven't gone back and compared the songs to the originals. Like maybe these were songs that had no guitar solo, or most of them had no guitar solo in the first place. But I know like the one that we reviewed yesterday, Cross That Line, that absolutely was guitar solos and replaced with violin and some sort of flute. So I don't know. This album is really interesting. It's musically surprising. I just don't know what I'm going to get from song to song. Sometimes it's the band. Sometimes it sounds like another choral section doing backups. I don't know. It's weird. So that's really all I can say about it. Except to say, I hope that you all have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for joining me on another episode. We will be back next week for 4 more as we edge towards the end of this album and head towards can't speak anymore. Why am I doing a podcast? Head towards the final album, Celebration. Have a great weekend, everybody. Do something great for yourself, and please take a minute and do something great for somebody else. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, The Magicians Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!